Hey guys, it's Reese, and for today's video, you guys have been asking me a lot to do more booktube videos, and you've also been asking me for movie recommendations, and so I thought I would combine them into one video where I'm going to be showing you guys my all-time favorite movies and my all-time favorite books. So just to preface this, I watch a lot of movies. That would be an understatement to say that. I want to go to film school and I want to make movies. It's what I want to do, so I watch a lot of them. So needless to say, it's very hard for me to count down my top 5 favorite movies. As for books, I've been reading forever and I really love reading, but I haven't been doing it as much lately. So these books are going to be some books that I read a while ago, but they're my favorites and I would recommend them to anybody. So first up is going to be my top 5 favorite movies. I'm going to be giving 2 honorable mentions for this category because it's very hard to choose. So my first honorable mention is Harry Potter and the Prisoner of Azkaban, or basically just the whole Harry Potter series. Obviously, Harry Potter is my favorite series ever, and Prisoner of Azkaban is my favorite, and it's definitely the best made movie from like a film point of view. It definitely has the best directing and the best everything, and I love this movie with all of my heart. It doesn't quite make the top 5, but love it. And my other honorable mention is Booksmart, which is directed by Olivia Wilde. This movie is so funny, it is so relatable, and people tell me that a lot that I look like the main character Amy, who is played by Caitlin Dever, and I guess that's another reason why I love it so much. This is another movie, it's a little lesser known, and I would recommend it to anybody, and I love it. So now getting into my top 5 favorite movies of all time. Number 5 on my list is a classic, and you've probably seen it, but it is Jurassic Park, which is directed by Steven Spielberg. This might be a surprise because I like never talk about this movie or liking I mean, this is from the 90s, but like classic movies, but I just absolutely love this movie. I have been fascinated with dinosaurs forever. Obviously, Steven Spielberg is just the greatest. I love Laura Dern, and she's in this movie. She's one of the main characters, which is just amazing. Also, Jeff Goldblum plays an iconic character in this movie. This movie is just like absolutely iconic. It's one of the most iconic pop culture references. This is amazing. So my guess is that a lot of you have probably seen Jurassic Park. Maybe you've been to Universal. There's a giant Jurassic Park themed ride. There is a Jurassic Park themed land, depending on if you're going in Orlando or Hollywood, which is very cool. But I will literally never get tired of this movie. I love it so much. And that is why it is my 5th favorite movie of all time. Coming in at number 4 on my list is The Perks of Being a Wallflower. This movie has been one of my favorites since middle school. It's based on a book, which I will talk about in my favorite book section, and it was directed by the same person who wrote the book. It stars Emma Watson, Logan Lerman, and Ezra Miller, and it is just, I absolutely am in love with this movie. It's set in the 90s and it follows a high school freshman named Charlie, and it has a lot to say about mental illness and high school experience, and it makes me so happy every time that I watch it. It brings back a lot of memories for me, and it's especially the closing scene of this movie. It just brings about a lot of feelings. This movie, I think, was really popular when it came out in like the Tumblr community. Then it kind of faded off, and now it's been put back on Netflix, and I'm seeing a lot of people posting about it again. So glad that this movie is finally getting the recognition it deserves. Obviously, I love pretty much anything that Emma Watson is in because she's my favorite actress ever. But this movie makes me very happy, and please go watch it. It's on US Netflix right now. My 3rd favorite movie of all time, we're following the Emma Watson theme, is Little Women, directed by Greta Gerwig. I could go on and on about this movie forever. The all-star cast of this movie is Emma Watson, Saoirse Ronan, Timothée Chalamet, Laura Dern, Florence Pugh. This movie gives me the most at-home, comfortable feeling that I think any movie gives me. Greta Gerwig is my favorite director of all time, and she's only directed 2 movies. Honestly, just the way that this is put together, I never even used to really love the story of Little Women. I'd seen one of the earlier adaptations and I just thought it was okay, but the way that Greta brings this story to life is just incredible. If you don't know what Little Women is, it's a story that revolves around 4 sisters in Civil War era Massachusetts. It sounds boring, but if you just watch the movie, I promise you, it is literally magical. I honestly fall more in love with it every time that I watch it. It did not get the recognition it deserved at the Oscars. I will forever be upset that Greta Gerwig did not get a Best Director nomination for this, and I can't wait to watch this movie a million more times. Alright, number 2, my 2nd favorite movie of all time. This seems to be like a pattern between connecting the movies. We're once again with Greta Gerwig and Saoirse Ronan, and that movie is Lady Bird. Lady Bird is one of the most personal movies that I've ever watched, relating it to my own life. Again, Greta's directing is just incredible in this movie. Saoirse does an incredible portrayal of a high school senior who is sick of living in Sacramento, California, and just wants to get out and leave her overbearing mother to go somewhere else to college. But for me, I really think it's just the personal element that makes it so enjoyable to watch. I've seen it so many times, you guys, so many times. Also, if you like Timothée Chalamet, he's also in this movie. And it's just so down to earth, and it's so beautiful, and I absolutely love it. And I would definitely recommend this to anybody. It's not that long, so if you're just looking for a movie to watch, it's on Amazon Prime. Please go watch Lady Bird. It's my child. I love this movie. And now, arriving at my favorite movie of all time. Some of you might know this. I do have a giant poster of it in my other room, which I showed in my room tour. This movie, I don't know, this is just my favorite movie of all time. It is La La Land. I saw this movie for the first time in theaters on Christmas Day. I had seen a preview for it a few months earlier, and I thought, that looks so weird. I was so absolutely blown away when I saw this movie. I can't even describe to you how much I love this movie and how much it means to me. For those of you who have never heard of La La Land or don't really know what it's about, it stars Emma Stone and Ryan Gosling, and it follows Mia and Sebastian. They're two artists who live in Los Angeles, and it is about how they meet each other and try to follow their dreams of becoming an actress and a musician, and trying to see if they can achieve their dreams while keeping their relationship together. It is a musical. It is the only movie in my top 5 that is a musical, and it's my #1. I absolutely love musicals. Again, this has personal elements for me, mainly because I want to work in the film industry, which is what Mia works in, but I don't want to be an actress, but I still want to work in the industry, and this movie is about how to become successful in such a competitive industry in Los Angeles. And I mean, it's not even like a romance or a romantic comedy at all, because I don't really like romantic comedies. Just their relationship is just like an aspect of the film. There's so much that makes this film great. The cinematography and the production design and just everything, like the colorization of this movie is just off the charts. And the music is absolutely incredible. It's like Disney music soundtrack level amazing. And I mean, I think it's just a combination of all of those aspects. I could never tell you one specific reason why I've always been so drawn to this movie. Emma Stone did win an Oscar for Best Actress for this movie. I mean, you've probably seen at the Oscars, this was the movie that originally won Best Picture. It should have won Best Picture. I've seen Moonlight, and this one's better. But it was like the mix-up where Moonlight actually won, and then they all had to get off the stage, whatever. But honestly, please watch La La Land. I don't think it's streaming on anything, but just find a way to watch it. Please, I'm begging you. This is my favorite movie of all time. Okay, so that's it for my top 5 favorite movies. I'm now going to be moving on to books, which are not going to be, I just don't really have a specific order for them, because I'm not as passionate, and I haven't reread these recently enough to be able to put them in a definite order for you. I don't very often read a book that I don't like. I pretty much like every book that I read. You've seen in my room tours, I have a giant shelf of books. I've read a lot, so basically if a book is up there, I probably enjoyed it. But I'm just going to be showing to you 5 of my favorite books that have really stood out to me and left an impact on me throughout the years as I've read books. So the first book is a series that I picked up embarrassingly pretty recently, and I'm sure most of you have read it, so we can all just collectively share our love for this book series, and that's Percy Jackson. I started reading Percy Jackson, I think, when I was a freshman in high school, and I literally read the entire series in like 2 months, I think. I honestly can't believe I'd never read it earlier. I think it's because we watched the movie in like middle school, and the movie was so bad that I was like, why would I want to read that? And then I finally decided to read it, and I was like, oh yep, I gotta read this entire series immediately. Greek mythology is so fascinating. My godly parent is Aphrodite, in case you were wondering. And the characters are just so likable in this series. And I really want to get into the other branches of the Percy Jackson series. I've started Heroes of Olympus. I read The Lost Hero, and I read The Son of Neptune, but I gotta read the rest of them. And I absolutely love Percy Jackson, and if you haven't read it by some odd chance, please do. It might be for children. It's really not, but I guarantee you that you will love it. Okay, another one of my favorite books is, I've talked about this one before too, which I don't think many of you have probably read, but this book is Big Little Lies. This book has been turned into a popular miniseries on HBO, which is absolutely amazing, by the way, if you're more into TV than books and you want to check it out. I read this book probably younger than the average reader would read this. This is more of an adult novel, and I read it in my freshman year again because I remember sitting out in the hallway in theater class for some reason and just reading this. It's over 480 pages and I read it in a week, or less than a week. It was so good. This is a murder mystery book that centers around the lives of moms who live in Monterey, California, and how their chaotic lives and their children's lives are intertwined between this murder that takes place. And I honestly just had so much fun with this book. This was one of my fastest reads ever. It's just like, I knew nothing about it going in, so it just constantly made me want to keep reading. And honestly, I would just recommend this to anybody, and I don't know why it's one of my favorites, because it's really, again, it's not in my age group, but I love it. Big Little Lies, 10 out of 10. Also a miniseries, 10 out of 10. It's gotten amazing reviews. Everybody seems to love it, so I promise you the book and the show are really good. Okay, next up, we gotta do a note to my OG favorite author, John Green. Spent a lot of my middle school time reading all of John Green's books. I think I've read pretty much all of them. He's got some classics, The Fault in Our Stars, An Abundance of Catherines, Looking for Alaska, but my ultimate favorite John Green book is Turtles All the Way Down. Basically, this book is about the journey of the main character, Asa, I think is how you say it, and her really severe struggles with mental illness. She has really bad OCD and anxiety, and it's kind of like a mystery-ish novel. It's about her and her friends trying to find a sum of money, and honestly, I just think it had one of the most realistic and personal depictions of mental illness that I've ever read in a book. Whoa. This meant a lot to me, and it's a really good story, and honestly, I mean, John Green is just the best. You know that you can't go wrong reading one of his books, but this one has definitely stood out to me over his whole collection of work. And this one, I definitely read all of his older books in like all at once when I was in middle school, and then this one was many years later, and it was the best, and I really love this book, and I would recommend it to you. Next, we're coming back to it. It's The Perks of Being a Wallflower. As you can see, this is a pretty small, short book. It contains mostly, it's like letters and diary entries. I think it's letters, if I remember correctly. Again, like the movie, the movie obviously was very true to the book because it was directed by the same person who wrote it. If you're not super into reading, but you want to look into it, it's short, so I promise you'll probably be able to get through it. Charlie's story is just so great, and exploring his relationships and his issues and everything that goes on in his life. And I think everyone can really learn something from reading this, or at least if you want to just watch the movie, please. And finally on this list of miscellaneous, my 5 favorite-ish books, of course I had to talk about the Harry Potter series, particularly my favorite Harry Potter book, Harry Potter and the Goblet of Fire. For some reason, my 2 favorite Harry Potter books are the longest ones. It's Goblet of Fire and Order of the Phoenix, which are both extremely long. This book is 734 pages, and I think I've read it 3 times. I cannot express enough that if you are a Harry Potter fan, but you've only seen the movies, there is so much more to explore if you get these books. It is almost like a whole different world because there are so many aspects of Hogwarts, so many aspects of these characters' lives that are not even mentioned, not even scratched the surface of in the movies. This one in particular is my favorite because Goblet of Fire is essentially the most enjoyable Harry Potter movie for me. Prisoner of Azkaban is the best one, but I really like Goblet of Fire the most. The amount of drama that happens in this book regarding the Yule Ball and Rita Skeeter and the house elves is insane that you don't get to see anything about in the movie. Yes, it is long, but if you are a Harry Potter fan, I promise you, you will soar through this book. It will take you no time at all to get through this. If you have read the Harry Potter series, I don't know if it's a popular opinion that this is the favorite. It's just my favorite, followed very closely by Order of the Phoenix. I absolutely love Order of the Phoenix too. Still mad that they never put Spew in the movies. Gotta save the house elves. Anyways, I first read the Harry Potter books when I was in 1st grade, and they have literally been just the most massive part of my life ever since. So they are my favorite books of all time. This would definitely be number one if I was putting these in any sort of order. I can't speak highly enough about the series. I'm guessing if you are subscribed to my channel, there is a good chance that you have read it, but if you haven't, you should read it. So those were my top 5-ish favorite books, and that's it. Those are my top 5 favorite movies and my top 5 favorite books. So I really hope you enjoyed this video. If any of these are also your favorite, let me know in the comments, or if you're gonna look into reading or watching any of these because of this video, let me know in the comments, and then let me know what you think of it when you finish it. Thank you so much for watching. Again, I hope you enjoyed. If you want to see more videos, you can subscribe. Give this a thumbs up if you enjoyed it. And again, thank you so much for watching. I will see you in my next video. Bye!